This is the South Pacific Adventist News. Hello, I'm David Gibbons. The Adventist Church's aid agency, ADRA, was the fourth largest fundraiser at last weekend's Sydney City to Surf Fun Run. For the first time in the 37-year history of the run, the Sun Herald organiser helped the 64,713 runners to raise money for their favourite charity. On race day, volunteers had raised approximately $10,000 for ADRA. A total of 23 people ran for ADRA Australia, including CEO David Jack. They wore ADRA t-shirts that said, "I huffed, I puffed, I changed the world."
We did raise over $10,000, and that put us at number 4 for all teams that entered in the City to Surf.
The Sun Herald reported last week that the Sydney Adventist Hospital has the largest private emergency department in New South Wales. It now sees 21,000 patients a year. The report said that the patients are waiting an average of 8 hours in public hospital waiting rooms. So many patients prefer to come to the Sydney Adventist Hospital, where they know they will see a doctor sooner. An Adventist youth convention was held this week that will see more young people stay at church. Over 600 Adventists travelled to Brisbane for 5 days to develop new strategies that will reclaim, retain and rescue youth. Over 60% of the attendees came from the South Pacific Islands such as Papua New Guinea, Fiji and the Solomons. The rest came from Australia and New Zealand. The Cook Islands community was shocked by the sudden death of Adventist church leader Pr Uma Katu last week. Pr Uma, who was only 58 years old, was the president of the Adventist Church in the Cook Islands. Last week's funeral was attended by hundreds of mourners, including the Queen's representative, the Chief Minister and many other parliamentarians.
If there was one word at the funeral that described Pr Uma, it was the word humble. This came out by government leaders, leaders of the church and people in the community.
Dr. Ella Simmons, the first female vice president of the Worldwide Adventist Church, flew into Uluru this week to meet with hurting and concerned Indigenous women. She was joined by other leaders at the first ever National Indigenous Convention. Some of the 100 female delegates were Adventists, but many were community leaders from all over Australia.
This is just a small beginning for something that is gigantic.
A new book has just been written by Adventists in Australia and New Zealand, which will help young children to run church. It's called Kids Preach, and it contains ideas for adults who work with children. Children will be able to take the entire weekly church service, including small sermons, readings, drama and music. Kids Preach is available from Adventist book centres throughout Australia and New Zealand. Children's ministry leaders have stocks of the book in Papua New Guinea, Fiji and the rest of the South Pacific. Last week, Adventists at Avondale College thanked the heroes of the Hunter's worst storm in 30 years. Representatives of Energy Australia and the New South Wales Police Force, Rural Fire Service and State Emergency Service attended a special thank you ceremony during the 11 a.m. Saturday morning service. The church's leadership team launched a letter writing campaign during the past fortnight. 155 thank you letters were displayed from the members of the community at the church on August 11. The letters will be bound into books and sent to each of the emergency organisations that helped. And finally, these are the stories to look forward to in this week's record. A new high school is planned for Sydney's northwestern suburbs. Sanitarium launches 2 new meat substitutes in its Veggie Delights range. Adventist churches in New South Wales freight a container of medical supplies and school equipment to the devastated Solomons. And the editor of the record reflects on why it isn't easy to be a financially successful church. Thank you for watching Adventist News. I'm David Gibbons.